Hey everyone, this is Aaron and Juwan, and you're listening to Wellness for Real People. This show is for people who are on the go, busy, and looking for ways to live their best lives. We focus on wellness topics in mindfulness, exercise, diet, and sleep, and share quick, actionable tactics to improve your health and wellness. We're not perfect, but we're trying to get a little better each day. Let's grow on this journey together.
Is the portfolio diet the best diet ever? Or is it the Mediterranean diet or the DASH diet? How do you even define the best? We're going to talk about that today. Excited to be back with you for another episode of Wellness for Real People. My name is Juwan, here with my co-host Aaron. And we're talking specifically about the portfolio diet. We're going to talk a little bit about what it is, and then we're going to talk about, what makes it such a popular option or choice for folks. And we're going to discuss and debate whether or not it is indeed the best diet. Um, and so let's get into it. This article is from Harvard Health by Dr. Robert Schmerling. And Aaron, if you don't mind, just kind of tell us a little bit more about what the portfolio diet actually is. Because prior to reading this article, I actually had no idea what the portfolio diet was. I'm like, oh my gosh, another diet out here I
That's
got.
what I said too. And
Uh,
like, I think what sparked my interest was, as you know, we're always looking for articles that fit the topics for the show. And this one stood out to me because I was like, well, first of all, in the same boat. I don't know what that is. Never had heard of it before reading this article. And so just to give you guys a breakdown on what is the portfolio diet. And essentially, it's a diet that's largely plant-based and it focuses on diverse foods and food groups proven to lower harmful blood lipids, including LDL, triglycerides, and it's a pattern of eating similar to any other diet, but really focused on those two things. And so, really, what they're trying to say when they use the term portfolio is they're kind of comparing it to the way you would treat like a financial investment or a set of investments, and it's a portfolio of the right combination of things that are supposed to give you long-term health and success. So, long way short, to say kind of like it is just kind of another way of organizing and categorizing different types of food, and mostly based on how do you get the vitamins and minerals and the things that you need out of those foods in order to help lower levels of harmful lipids. So typically it includes plant-based proteins like soybeans and tofu, peas, nuts, and seeds, high fiber foods such as oats, barley, berries, apples, and citrus fruit, and then I can never say this one right. It's phytosterols, I believe is how you say it. I don't know, Juan, if I said that right. Yeah, we are not medical professionals, so all these medical terms, but essentially it's plant-based foods such as whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and nuts as well, and to help you with that are fortified with phytosterols and dietary supplements, and then plant-based oils high in monosaturated fats such as olive oil, avocado oil, sapphire oil, and peanut oil. So it's kind of a very, very interesting that it's like a lot of these ones that are already popular in like Mediterranean diets, some of the things we've talked about on the show before, but then just some key things to call out that are not part of the portfolio diet: red meat, highly processed food, refined grains, and added sugar, which we talked about on the last episode, how many things have added sugar. Those are things that kind of contribute to inflammation, butter, cream, and other dairy products that are high in saturated fat and cholesterol. So, just a quick breakdown of what it is. We're going to talk a little bit more about, just in general diets and does this make it the best one or any of those kind of things. So, just wanted to get your take on where we're at so far, Juwan, with those things.
yeah, like you said, it kind of fits the bill for a lot of the things that we've been talking about in prior episodes of the show. It's a really sounds like it's about being mindful, like you said, about having a, more of a plant-based kind of whole food kind of diet, eliminating a lot of that processed food, artificial, sweeteners and these kinds of things, which is all sounds, makes complete sense
Yeah.
to me. One of the things that I was that stuck out to me while we were reading the article, they were talking about a study, 2023 study with more than 17,000 people in this particular study, and it kind of followed them, as they kept careful food diaries for 30 years. And they found that, people who most closely followed this type of a portfolio diet compared, to those who did not follow it, they were more likely to have, favorable levels on the lipids and less inflammation. So they were also likely to have around 14%, less risk for a heart attack and 14% less likely to have a stroke. So, there's some caveats to this study, but at least it was one data point that, the author put in here to kind of talk about, as they're kind of tracking and trying to see, does this type of diet actually make a positive impact? And at least in this one particular study, they did see, some positive indicators that this type of diet, was indeed helpful.
Yeah, that is impressive. They did a 30-year study. I'm like, that's extensive.
Yeah.
So it's like, and 17,000 people feels like a really good size as well, too, to really understand what's going on. So I do appreciate that thoroughness on the study and giving us some good data there.
Yeah. They talked about, is this the type of diet for like weight loss, or other health advantages? And no, this is not specifically a diet designed around, a weight loss. But I think that goes back to what we were talking about, right? Or alluding to a little bit earlier, is like there is no necessarily one best diet, right? So spoiler alert, portfolio diet is not necessarily the best diet in the world. It's like with many things in life, it depends, right? And so it kind of depends on what your goals are, and some of the other factors that they, that the author, kind of talks about, in terms of other health conditions that you may be dealing with, in terms of some of your dietary preferences, right? And so you got to take all of that into account and try to find like I like the way I don't know exactly the way you put it, but a pattern or a system of eating, right? That kind of is amenable to that and is going to be sustainable, right? I think we talk about that a lot on this show. It's like, we're not into some sort of crash or fad diet that you can, okay, it's great, it's going to get you some great results for like 2 months, but then you can't sustain it and you go back to worse than where you were before, right? That kind of yo-yo effect. You want to
Yep.
develop a kind of a diet that is more sustainable and you feel you can keep up with it, for the rest of your life. But what are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I think like that's the biggest point of the whole article is like how do you define best? And while it does like kind of introduce me to this portfolio thing, I'll explore more and read more about it. But really what it means by best is the best diet and the highest number of health benefits for you and whatever your goals and targets are, like you just said, Joanna. I think one of the things that the article points out that we got to focus on is what health problems do you have? And oftentimes we don't know our numbers. We don't know our cholesterol numbers. We don't know what health goals we have other than, the stereotypical losing weight to fit an image. But it's really more important to just kind of understand, do you have cardiovascular issues, diabetes, or high blood pressure, or whatever your situation may be, is to look at that and best defining that as what can help you to get the best health outcome from that side of things. So I love that switch. And then the other part of the article I like too is which foods do you like best? It's like your taste, maybe culturally, maybe location based, whatever it may be, really affect your diet and specifically how likely you are to stick with it. And what I learned for myself of trying crash diets a couple of years ago, it was great in terms, like you said, losing weight loss, great, lost all the weight, immediately put it back on and more once I got past it. So it was like trying to lose weight before a wedding. And it's like now we're trying to shift into this phase of like meeting and satisfying our taste desires, but then at the same time eating the right things. And I think that's the most challenging part because a lot of the stuff that tastes good is not good for us. So it's like, how do we figure out a diet that fits that so you can still get that flavor palette or some of those tastes or even culturally the things that you love and enjoy, but incorporate more of these healthier ingredients and inputs in your portfolio.
Yeah. No, it's a great way to kind of end the show and a great thought, food for thought that I think that is really important. You brought up that cultural piece that we often don't really speak a lot about, but it is really, really important. And We hope that this article just gives you a little more food for thought as you're going through your day and going through your week and kind of developing your own unique kind of strategy or plan for your diet. That it maybe gives you some new ideas or some tools in your toolkit, to help you on your journey. But was there anything else that you wanted to share with our
Um,
today?
no, I think that was the bottom line, man. It's just like, yeah, it's just the overall thing is just the pattern of all the inputs and things you're putting into your body. And again, as they always mention, some things not to do. Don't smoke, get regular exercise. We talk about that a lot on this show. Even if it's just small amounts, you don't have to go any crazy fitness programs just to start getting your health together. Maintaining healthy blood pressure and weight, preventing diabetes when possible. So getting good medical care to treat that, understand where you're at in your numbers, and then taking those prescribed medications as needed. If you need to have your, cholesterol lowered or blood pressure checked, just making sure to take care of yourself overall. That's it.
Okay. Well,
Awesome. Yeah, guys, appreciate you. We'll be back again for another episode of Wellness for Real People. Going to continue diving into these topics of mindfulness, diet, exercise, and sleep. But until then, take care of yourself. We'll see you guys soon.
yeah.